Welcome to Stoic Love, where silence speaks louder than words, and your presence alone can awaken the deepest emotions in her soul. You see, most men chase love with logic. They think affection is earned with gifts, sweet words, or predictable kindness. But what truly captivates a woman isn't what's visible, it's what's felt. Beneath her polished smiles and confident masks lie emotional fantasies so primal, so vulnerable that even she may not fully understand them. Yet these unspoken desires govern everything who she craves, who she trusts, and who she can't forget. In this video, we reveal the 7 hidden emotional fantasies every woman secretly longs for but will never say out loud. From the magnetic silence of a man who doesn't chase to the grounding power of a man who holds her storm without flinching, these are not tactics. They are truths. They aren't tricks to seduce. They are doorways to deep emotional connection. And when you understand them, when you embody them, you become the man she's subconsciously been searching for her entire life. So listen closely, because once you master these silent languages, you won't need to say much. She'll feel everything. 1. The take control fantasy when she longs to surrender. She says she's independent. She acts like she has it all figured out. But deep down, there's a part of her that silently waits for a man to walk in, not to control her, but to command the moment, to carry himself with such emotional certainty that she can finally put down her armor and breathe. This is the take control fantasy, not domination, but grounded leadership. Women are biologically wired to seek safety, not just physical, but emotional safety. And emotional safety is created not by compliance or approval seeking, but by presence, clarity, and self-mastery. When you walk into a room and feel no need to prove yourself, you trigger something ancient inside her. When your gaze is steady, not invasive, not needy, but simply aware, she feels it before you speak. You become the center of gravity in her chaos. You don't need to ask, "Can I kiss you?" in a trembling voice. You don't need to over-explain yourself or ask if it's okay to lead. You simply lead and respect her boundaries without seeking permission for your masculinity. There's no ego in it. It's not about being loud or aggressive. It's about calm, undeniable direction. That's what gives her permission to let go. In the world of Stoicism, this is called self-command. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. You don't try to control her, you control yourself. And paradoxically, when you become immovable in your presence, she becomes moved by you. Think of the man who gently but firmly places his hand on her lower back as they walk through a crowd, not asking, just guiding. Think of the man whose eye contact is so steady, she forgets what she was about to say. She doesn't feel afraid, she feels seen, held, and understood without a single word. That's the paradox she craves. To surrender without fear, to melt in the presence of a man who has nothing to prove. A man who doesn't raise his voice to get attention but lowers it and she leans in. A man who doesn't chase but whose silence pulls her deeper than any compliment ever could. This isn't a trick. It's not about playing alpha. It's about becoming so deeply rooted in your own presence, in your own purpose, that she feels safe enough to fall not into chaos, but into you. Now comment below, "I lead myself, that's why she trusts me." 2. The forbidden protector fantasy, when her walls begin to fall. She's strong, she's smart, she tells the world she doesn't need anyone. But when the lights go dim and her heart grows tired, what she truly craves is not rescue, but refuge. A man who doesn't flinch when her emotions roar. A man who doesn't try to fix her, but holds her steady when her storm breaks loose. This is the forbidden protector fantasy. Modern women are taught to build walls. Society rewards them for being invulnerable, for never needing help. But no wall is built without a cry from the heart. Behind her ambition, her wit, her fire, she longs to collapse into someone who won't shame her for being soft, someone who doesn't need her to pretend, someone who says with his eyes, "You're safe here." But here's what separates the real men from the rescuers. You don't chase her walls. You don't beg to be let in. You stand firm like a lighthouse, unmoved by crashing waves. You lead her back to calm not by force, but by being unshakably calm yourself. When she panics, you don't rush to fix her. You ground her. When she lashes out, you don't defend your ego, you hold space. When she tests you with chaos, you don't flee. You stay. Stoicism teaches us, be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved and the raging of the sea falls still around it. That's who you must be. You become the man she didn't know she needed because you don't need her validation. You're not swayed by mood swings. You don't react with fear or frustration. You simply witness her with warmth, with steadiness, with presence. And in that space, she slowly lets go. Not because you forced her, but because she senses, this man can hold me. There's no drama in it, no performance, no bravado, just simple strength, a quiet confidence that wraps around her like a shield. You don't interrupt her process, you become the sanctuary within it. And when you whisper, "I've got you," she believes you. Not because you said it, but because every ounce of your energy proves it. This is what makes her heart beat faster in stillness. This is what makes her return when the world overwhelms her. You don't chase her love, you anchor it. Now, comment below, I don't save her, I give her the strength to fall into me. 3. The masquerade fantasy, seeing her through the mask. She walks into the room and everyone sees the same thing, confident, composed, in control. But you notice something different. A flicker in her eyes, a silence behind the smile. She wears the perfect mask, but something in you whispers, she's hiding. And that whisper is what pulls her toward you like gravity. Every woman wears a mask, not because she's fake, but because she's learned it's safer. Behind every dazzling smile is a little girl wondering, if I show you who I really am, will you still stay? Most men only see the surface, the charm, the sass, the clever comebacks. But the man she dreams of, he sees through the act without trying to rip it off. He doesn't demand her truth. He waits until she feels safe enough to offer it. This is the masquerade fantasy. It's not about exposing her, it's about witnessing her, not reacting, not trying to fix, just standing in front of her with a presence so steady she forgets she's pretending. When she says, "I'm fine," you pause. You don't challenge her. You lean in, gently lift her chin and say, "You don't have to be," not as a tactic, but as truth. She feels it. You see her and not the version she curates for the world. And when she finally sighs and lets the armor drop, it's not because she's weak, it's because you made it safe to be strong in a new way. Vulnerable, honest, real. You don't reward her truth with judgment or control. You sit with it. You hold her gaze. You offer a silence so grounded, so accepting that her walls fall without a word. This is emotional intimacy most men never reach. It requires more than charm, it demands depth. Stoicism teaches us, don't be distracted by appearances. Seek what lies beneath, so you stay curious, attuned, steady. And she responds not because you pursued her, but because she felt seen in a way she never knew was possible. She begins to crave your presence not because you flatter her, but because you mirror back the parts of herself she hides from the world. And in your quiet, unshakable witnessing, she finally finds the courage to take off the mask. Now comment below, I don't chase her mask, I see her soul. For the controlled chaos, fantasy letting her lose control safely. She spends her whole day in control, managing tasks, navigating expectations, keeping everything together. But somewhere deep inside, she longs to unravel, not carelessly, not recklessly, but safely. She wants to fall apart, in the arms of a man strong enough to catch her. This is the controlled chaos fantasy, a secret craving every woman holds, the desire to lose herself in a man's presence, without fear of being judged, abandoned, or overpowered. It's not about dominance, it's about stability. She wants to feel chaos without danger. She wants to be led through her own storm. When a woman finds a man who can hold that kind of space, calm, grounded, unshaken, her entire nervous system responds. Her walls drop. Her mind slows. Her breath changes. Suddenly, the tension she's carried for years begins to melt, not because he fixed her, but because he never flinched. You don't need to say much. You don't lecture. You don't panic when she panics. You simply remain. When her emotions spiral, your presence says, "I'm here, and nothing you feel can shake me." It's in the way you touch her. Firm, not forceful. The way you breathe deep, slow, steady. The way your eyes stay on her when she's spiraling, not with pity, but with unwavering focus. She's used to being the one in control, but when she feels yours, she exhales. Imagine her in a moment of overwhelm, her voice rising, her words tangled. You don't match her intensity. You lower yours. Gently, you take her hands, look into her eyes, and say, "Breathe with me." That's the moment she starts to surrender, not to you, but to her own need to feel held. She's not looking for a savior. She's looking for an anchor, a man who can lead her back to herself, not by controlling her, but by never losing his center. That's where Stoicism meets seduction. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This fantasy is not about being cold. It's about being calm. It's not about forcing her to submit. It's about offering her a space where surrender feels like freedom. And when she finds it in you, she won't forget it. She'll associate your presence with peace, your arms with safety, your voice with coming home. Now comment below, I am the calm in her storm. 5. The silent obsession fantasy, when you haunt her without a word. She checks her phone, but you haven't texted. She posts a story, but you don't view it. She laughs with her friends, but your absence lingers like a ghost she can't shake. This is the silent obsession fantasy, the most paradoxical desire buried deep inside many women, to be completely consumed by a man who doesn't chase her, a man who doesn't need to prove anything. A man so self-contained his very silence echoes in her mind. She doesn't crave your attention because it's constant. She craves it because it's rare, and when you do give it, it matters. It lands, it burns, it stays. You don't flood her inbox with compliments. You drop a line that makes her think for days. You don't linger after an intense conversation. You disappear into your mission building, creating, ascending, and in that void, you leave behind the most dangerous force of all, curiosity. Why hasn't he texted? Is he thinking about me? Does he even care? That's when the obsession begins, not with what you say, but with what you don't. This fantasy isn't about neglect. It's about energy management. You offer presence, but never in desperation. You care, but not in need. You show interest, but without making her the center of your existence. You let her feel your world spinning without her, and that mystery pulls her in. Psychologically, this taps into scarcity bias. We value what we can't easily possess. And biologically, it awakens the pursuit mechanism, that ancient instinct to chase what runs just out of reach. But here's the key. This isn't a game. This is real. You actually have a purpose greater than validation. You actually have a life that doesn't stop for her moods, her tests, or her silence. When you show that she can't help but romanticize you, replay your words. Wonder if she imagined the connection, or if she just lost something she didn't know she needed. You become the man who haunts her daydreams, the one she can't decode, the one who made her feel deeply, then vanished into his purpose. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and in your freedom, She sees something rare, sovereignty. That's what makes her obsessed. Now comment below. I disappear to grow. That's why she can't forget me. 6. Fantasy. The mirror who doesn't flinch. At her core, a woman doesn't just want to be adored. She wants to be understood without being broken. This is the fantasy of the mirror who doesn't flinch. It's the subconscious craving to stand in front of a man who sees everything, her fear, her shame, her rage, her longing, and doesn't run, doesn't correct, doesn't shrink. Instead, he reflects it back with presence, not judgment. She yearns for a man who can witness the full chaos of her soul without losing the stillness of his own. In today's world, where perfection is curated on screens and vulnerability is masked by performance, a woman's deepest fear is being too much, too intense, too emotional, too unpredictable. But when she meets a man who is unshakable in the face of her rawest expressions, who sees her breaking and doesn't rush to fix her, but remains, something profound happens. She finds safety not in being saved, but in being seen. This isn't about stoic indifference or cold detachment. It's about masculine containment, the quiet strength of a man who can absorb storms without becoming the storm. When she spirals in self-doubt, he doesn't deny it. He meets it with steady eyes. When she lashes out in fear, he doesn't retaliate. He breathes through it. She learns that her darkness won't shatter him and that alone makes him irresistible. You activate this fantasy not with words, but with stillness. When she erupts, don't counterattack, slow your breath. When she weeps, don't console, stay close. When she's silent, don't fill the space, honor it. Be the calm mirror, not the emotional sponge. Let her see herself in your unwavering presence. Imagine a woman trembling, her voice cracking as she blurts out something she's terrified to say. Most men flinch. They try to fix her, comfort her, or retreat. But you look at her, not through her, not around her, and say, I see you. No drama, no panic, just presence. And in that moment she knows. She doesn't have to hide anymore. This fantasy is the death of pretense. It's the invitation to unfold entirely without fear of collapse. Because you won't flinch, you won't judge, you won't leave. And that is a rare power few men ever master. Now comment below. I reflect her truth without flinching. 7. Fantasy. The intimate stranger. There is a part of every woman buried beneath layers of logic, routine, and social masks that longs to be seen not as a role, not as a label, but as a living, breathing mystery. This is the fantasy of the intimate stranger. The man who knows nothing about her on paper yet seems to understand everything through instinct. He does not need a history to feel her soul. He doesn't ask her to explain who she is because somehow he already knows the part she herself forgot. This isn't the man she's known for years who memorized her schedule and favorite color. It's the one who walks into her life and without needing permission disarms her with a look, a question, a silence so precise it slices through her armor. He sees not what she shows, but what she conceals. That forgotten part, the wild, sensual, deeply feeling woman she doesn't show the world, suddenly rises to the surface in his presence. Why? Because he doesn't need to define her. He doesn't project. He doesn't cling. He simply experiences her fully, fearlessly. In his eyes, she is not a mother, not a CEO, not an artist, not a girlfriend. She is energy, and he touches that energy without hesitation. You embody this fantasy when you let go of the need to understand her logically and start tuning into her emotionally. When she tells a story, don't interrupt with facts, feel the meaning beneath her words. When she pauses mid-sentence, don't fill the gap. Listen to what her silence is screaming. When she fidgets, flirts, freezes, watch. Breathe. Mirror. Let her become in your presence. An intimate stranger doesn't chase, doesn't attach. He arrives fully aware and makes her feel that everything she's ever hidden is welcome. He doesn't say, Tell me who you are." He says with his gaze, his energy, his stillness, "I already know." That knowing isn't about psychic powers. It's about emotional sensitivity. It's about not needing to possess her to feel her. You don't solve her, you witness her. And in doing so, you awaken a sacred space where she feels not defined but discovered. That is intimacy beyond sex. That is seduction without words. That is obsession born of being felt, not just seen. Now comment below, "I don't define her, I discover her." 8. Fantasy, the forbidden mirror. Every woman holds within her a storm, a chaos of desire, doubt, shame, hunger, and memory. Most men try to fix it, flee from it, or fear it. But the rarest man, the one she never forgets, is the forbidden mirror. He reflects back her darkness without flinching. He shows her who she is without judgment, and in doing so, he makes the one thing she thought unlovable feel seen. This isn't about praise. It's not about telling her she's beautiful or strong or perfect. It's about seeing the truth beneath the performance, seeing the rage she hides behind her politeness, seeing the jealousy buried under her smiles, seeing the wounds she covers with ambition, and still staying. The forbidden mirror doesn't react. He reflects. When she lashes out, he doesn't crumble or retaliate, he holds his ground. When she withdraws, he doesn't chase. He waits, anchored. When she breaks down, he doesn't try to fix, he simply witnesses. In that witnessing, she finds freedom. Because for once, she is not performing, she is not pleasing, she is not trying, she is revealed. And the revelation doesn't repel him, it pulls him closer. You become this mirror not by agreeing with her, but by not flinching at her truth. When she's cruel, you don't justify or scold, you see the pain behind it. When she tests you, you don't prove, you remain calm. When she tries to provoke you, let the wave crash and then stand taller. She'll tell you you're dangerous. She'll call you too intense. She'll say you see too much, but she won't walk away, because deep down she has been begging for this kind of mirror, one that doesn't distort, doesn't flatter, doesn't flee, one that knows her darkness and still doesn't break. She will dream of you, she will fear you, she will crave you, because in your presence she is not a fantasy, she is raw, she is human, and she is free. This isn't manipulation, it's maturity. It's emotional leadership. It's the kind of power born not from ego, but from understanding that every woman, no matter how polished, aches to be seen, not just in the light, but in the shadows. Now comment below. I am the mirror she fears but secretly needs. Now you see it. Her deepest desire is not for words, but for energy. Not for a man who explains, but one who embodies. She dreams of the man who doesn't ask for permission to lead, the man whose silence calms her chaos, the man whose presence lingers like a forbidden flame she can't put out. But this power is not about control. It's about emotional sovereignty, the ability to lead, feel, and remain grounded no matter what storm she brings. When you live with purpose, move with calm, and speak with presence, she feels safe to unravel. She lets go. She surrenders. And that surrender, that's where intimacy is born, not in sex, but in trust. At Stoic Love, we don't chase validation. We don't play games. We build men who attract effortlessly by becoming the mirror, the fire, the sanctuary she never knew she needed. So now I leave you with one final invitation. Comment below. I lead in silence. I love without losing myself. If this message awakened something in you, like this video, subscribe, and share it with a brother who's ready to stop chasing and start embodying. Until next time, stay sovereign, stay stoic, stay true.